What's going on, guys? It's Nick here, back with another video. Titans at Ravens. This game has a 46.5 point total, and the Ravens are 9.5 point home favorites, making them the biggest favorites on the week. We'll start off with a Titans team that's fresh off a win in Foxborough. They went into that game with the game plan to just run the ball every play. And if that gets stopped, then we'll go towards the pass. But the plan was, if we can run it every play, we're going to do it. And somehow, the Patriots were surprised by that. This week, that's pretty unlikely to happen. The Ravens know this team's going to come in here and try and give Derrick Henry 40 carries. And the Ravens are a much better run defense than the Patriots are. And their defense played much better over the second half of the season. Because if you remember the first half, they were just okay. But definitely in the second half, they stepped it up big time. On the season, they allowed just 17.6 points per game overall. But it was down to 13 points per game over the final 7 weeks. And they finished the season allowing the 5th fewest yards per carry and 6th fewest yards per pass attempts. So, also considering they were only averaging 17.6, I said, points per game allowed, but it was the higher end. Like, the Browns went off against them in that crazy game, but the Browns were the only team to score more than 21 points against them at home. So when you look at this Ravens defense, when they play at home, they do not allow production. The Browns were the only team. That game I consider an outlier because it was so much different than every other game we saw them play. Other than that, no team scored more than 21 points against them when they're at home. If the Titans are going to find success, it will very likely come from Derrick Henry. He had 35 touches for 204 yards and a touchdown last week, making it the 6th time in the last 7 weeks he's been over 100 and a touchdown, with at least 150 total yards and a score in 4 of his last 6, and making it the 21st time in his last 23 games he's had at least 75 rushing yards or a touchdown. Derrick Henry's an absolute monster, and there's certainly a chance that he carries the Titans to victory like he did last week, but he'll likely need to because Tannehill is pretty likely to struggle again moving the ball through the air, and the minute that they pull Derrick Henry for Dion Lewis in a pass-heavy game script, because remember, they still don't throw him the ball. They should. The Titans should throw the ball to Derrick Henry, but they don't. So the minute they get down 13, 14, 15 points, and they pull Derrick Henry, and they start using Dion Lewis a ton, the Titans lose. So will the Ravens jump out to a lead and force the Titans to lean pass heavy? Probably. The Ravens led the league with 33.2 points per game this season, with an average margin of 15.6 points per game, one of just 3 teams over 9. That's crazy. Lamar Jackson threw 36 touchdowns to just 6 interceptions, while adding 1,200 rushing yards and another 7 rushing touchdowns on the ground. Mark Ingram's health is the biggest concern for this offense. He had 1,250 all-purpose yards and 15 touchdowns on the season, but he strained his calf in week 16 and is questionable this week. I've seen a number of different reports on how close he is to returning or how healthy he is. Ultimately, I expect him to play, but see a reduced workload. He already doesn't get like 25 carries a game. Like, they don't give him the same workload that the Titans give Derrick Henry. But from what we typically expect, I think he'll be scaled back just a bit. And the thing is, it's because they don't need to give him the ball a ton. Like, if they didn't have a competent backup, yeah, they'd try and push him as much as possible. But Gus Edwards has a career 5.3 yards per carry. And Justice Hill, while they don't typically lean on him in the ground game, he's really explosive in the receiving game. So if they need to take 5-6 carries away from Ingram and give 4 or 5 of them to Gus Edwards, increase Justice Hill just a tad, give him maybe one more target in the receiving game. They're fine doing that because they have the backups to get it done. So while I think he is hurt, he's probably going to be limited. I don't think he'll be out, but you know what? Just check. Like I always say, check Roto World, check Twitter, because we're going to know 90 minutes, at least 90 minutes before lock. That's the ground game. We all know they have like the number one rush offense DVOA, number 1 yards per carry. They're an incredible rushing offense, but they're also pretty good at moving the ball through the air. The totals aren't there because they don't throw the ball a ton, but when they do, they're really good at it. Lamar had the 3rd highest quarterback rating, the 5th highest PFF passer rating, while leading the league in passing touchdowns and throwing just the 6 interceptions. If the Titans are going to win, then Derrick Henry needs to have a great game, a game like he had last week. And they're going to need to stop the Ravens' rushing attack and hope that Lamar Jackson makes mistakes through the air. And while that's certainly possible, I don't think it's all that likely. The Ravens have won 12 straight games, and now you give them an extra week to get their players healthy because not everyone's listed on the injury report, but everyone's banged up at the end of the year. So an extra week to get healthy, an extra week to prepare. They're at home. I just don't see a way they lose this game. So I'll be taking the Ravens. I'll be laying the 9.5, whatever it ends up being. I want to say it might be down to like 9, 8.5 right now. Whatever it ends up being, I'm going to lay those points, and I'm predicting a final score of 33-13. So that'll do it for my breakdown of this game. You can find the rest of our playoff videos on this channel or on Fantasy Football Advice. But that's the end of this one. I hope you all did enjoy. If you did, how about hitting that like button? And if you're new here, how about subscribing to the channel? Thanks for watching.